Dude,
What?
JRPG news!
Oh,
Yeah! Good morning, everybody. This is Dude JRPG news, where a couple of dudes tell you about the JRPG news. Makes a lot of sense, right? This is my co-host Mel. How's it going, man?
my Coast Mel. Yes.
Whole coast. And I'm your main host today, the legendary Zoltan, and we're gonna do this in a turn-based fashion. And I'm gonna have Mel go first, and then I'm gonna be at the end because I have something epic for you guys at the end. Mel,
Looking
give
forward
us.
to it.
Oh man, it's cool. Mel, give us your first story.
All right. The first one is a little bit of a quickie here. If you are a Monster Hunter fan, the new Monster Hunter Rise game that's coming out on Switch, there are a bunch of weapon trailers. They did this for Monster Hunter World when that was gearing up for release.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually a big part of what got me into ultimately buying that game
Those trailers,
on
huh?
the PS4. Yeah, because I really didn't know a lot about it. I knew there were a bunch of weapons, but the number of weapons is a little intimidating. The whole game is intimidating, but these videos kind of break it down. Like, hey, kind of what kind of game player are you? Are you a ranged? Do you want to go ranged? Do you want to be tanky? I like tanky gameplay in general, but also like ranged is cool too. Do you want to be like fast, nimble, dex type build thing? And these videos break down not only what's on offer in a digestible and kind of hypey marketing way,
Yeah.
but they do a decent job of telling you the role, because when you get deeper into the game, there are roles you're really supposed to fulfill with these weapons. They're like classes. And
Is that because you
there are
play the
other...
multiplayer? Is that why there are roles? Or...
There can be, yeah. And if you play the game to a really, you don't have to, but I think anyone who does invest themselves deeply into a Monster Hunter game does play it multiplayer. But I don't believe you actually do have to. I'm pretty sure everything is doable solo. But I think the experience ends up being a little muted a little bit when you do it that way, because you could have another character who's like buffing you, and then you can kind of really unload and do more cool aggressive attacks and so on and so forth. If you don't have that person, obviously that's not going to happen. But yeah, the other thing it teaches you in these trailers is how to actually use the weapon, which you might think, well, don't you use it like every other weapon? You don't. Every weapon has kind of advanced mechanics that are behind them, some way more complex than others, some very simple.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, the game is like one of those scary games where you can almost see yourself falling into a tunnel with it, and you're like, I don't know if that's a good idea. But yeah, so if you're Disgaea or any MMO like Final Fantasy 14 or whatever, it's one of those things, or it can be. So yeah, if you're interested in that, a whole bunch. I don't think all of the weapon trailers are out as of this recording, but it seems like every day they're releasing another one. Yeah. So if you're curious about the Switch release of this Monster Hunter game, check those out.
That's an excellent form of marketing because it tutorializes you and teaches you how to play the game while kind of selling it to you at the same time. So that's pretty cool.
Correct.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of them, but I did notice them being released. So that's cool. I'll bet I would love it if I played a Monster Hunter game.
Probably.
Okay, thank you for that, Mel. My turn now. I got a bunch of quickies for you. Where is it? Here we go. The Bravely Default 2 quote final demo is out now, and if you download it before the game actually comes out, you get 100 My Nintendo Platinum points. I did not know that there was a point system like that with Nintendo. But the demo's on the eShop now, so you can go check it out. Bravely Default 2. Boom.
I believe those coins, they can get you either a little
I'm sorry, they can get you what?
Little gift shop type of goodies, little extras that you can cash them in for, order them using those currency, I think. Okay. And if not, then they give you some amount of a discount.
I see.
I know that for sure, because whenever I check out a game, on my Switch. It's like, do you want to use your coins to reduce the whatever the price?
Okay.
And I never have any coins because I never engaged with that system. But I don't buy very many games on the Switch anyway.
I see. Cool. Tales of Arise, the next Tales game that's coming out. That's like the next huge one. There's been an interview with the general producer Yusuke Tomizawa, and he just said that, sorry, we haven't had any news for a long time, but don't worry, we got lots of news coming up. And also, the game development is going very smoothly, and also it's now in the final stages where we just improve the overall quality of it. So that's good to hear. And this year has been the 25th anniversary of the Tales. Wait a minute. But this year's already going to be over. I'm not quite sure. I guess maybe it started in July or something. But it was the 25th anniversary year of Tales. And so Yusuke Tomizawa, once again, he's like, "Oh yeah, we didn't have that much crazy stuff to talk about and announce during the first half of this anniversary celebration year. But don't worry, second half is gonna blow it out of the water, yo. So look forward to that, I guess. I'm glad to hear that Tales of Arise is coming along smoothly. Because it looks like a fairly large. It looks way larger budget than any of the previous Tales games.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they finally got rid of the area names: Vesperia, Symphonia.
They put it at the beginning.
Tales of Arise. I'm sorry?
Arise.
Oh.
I don't know. A bad joke.
Yeah, okay.
It's like in there, sort of.
Legend of Heroes Kuro no Kiseki was announced, not announced specifically for the West, but of course it's coming out in the West. I mean, it is coming out in the West because it's coming out. It was said it's going to come out worldwide, so there you go. So I guess you could say that is the announcement. And there was an interview with... Was it an interview? No, it was there was a 5-page interview with the president of Falcom itself, Toshihiro Kondo, in the Famitsu magazine. And there's a huge list here of little details that he gave about the upcoming Kuro no Kiseki. I'm sorry, Trails of Black it would be translated to. As a person who hasn't played any of the games yet, some things that interested me in this list are, one right here, the game engine is brand new. That's kind of a big deal, in my opinion.
Okay.
90% of the characters are brand new, but 10% are going to come from previous games. Then they specifically went out in his way to say, there will not be 50 playable characters, which makes me think that Trails of Cold Steel 4 had 50 playable characters. Holy crap, right?
Whoa. See, I don't know very much about the Trails series once it's gotten to the 3D portion of it, like the generation of the
Oh, that's right.
series.
Trails in the Sky is completely 2D?
It's 2D sprites. On a very sort of PS1 level,
3D background,
rotating 3D background.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good fit, though. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I think every game that has had that aesthetic has looked good. That's what I think.
It's one of my favorite combos.
Same here. I definitely prefer it to what Final Fantasy VII did with 3D characters on 2D backgrounds.
Yeah.
Although those 2D backgrounds were pretty cool too.
They were cool, but they were really compressed. If you're going to do pre-rendered backgrounds, you need to do the Resident Evil thing where they're a little more painterly. They're more fuller scale, especially on the GameCube, which is way past when pre-rendered backgrounds were a thing. And they looked amazing. They looked like photographs.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. 3 characters have been revealed so far, and I just like the way that he actually referred to other games and anime when describing his upcoming game's characters. He said there's a Kirito-looking character, which if you might not know, right, Mel? Who's
No, I
Kirito?
do not know.
Yeah, the main character of Sword Art Online, the anime.
Oh
So
boy.
he looks like that guy, guys.
Is he
If
like
you've
the
seen that.
boy that wears like the black sort of long coat
Long coat.
thing?
That's the guy. Okay, you know.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
actually know.
I know the image. That's
Yeah,
all I know.
yeah, it's that guy. A dual wielding redhead character with a Middle Eastern appearance, and a character that looks like Alyssa or Alisa, Alisa. I don't know who's that's from. Minus the attitude and with the chest of Ryza. Atelier Ryza's getting freaking referenced, yo. This is crazy.
Oh my god, a cameo appearance. Her boobs.
Just her boobs, yeah.
Yeah,
And
pay royalties for those boobs.
and yeah, I like that he went out of the way to describe her chest. Just so you guys know, this new character that's coming out looks like the boobs look like Ryza's boobs. That's important to know. And here's another really interesting one. Movement and battles are seamless. I don't know if they were like that in the past, but I would assume not if they're going out of their way to say it. That's a kind of a big deal also. And there's lots of fun stuff here. If you search for Legend of Heroes Kuronokuseki announced, I'm sure you'll find the Gematsu entry that has all the points listed out in a nice, beautiful list. So I'm sure I keep saying Tales, I'm sorry, Trails fans, Legend of Heroes Trails fans are going out of their mind waiting for this game if they've played all the previous ones. I know that Shadow Elite HD did like a 30. I didn't watch the video because I haven't played any of the other games. But he did a 30-minute video just talking about the announcement of Kurono Kiseki. I'm sorry, Trails of Black. Yeah. So that's interesting. So it's a big deal for people out there. Okay, next quickie, two more. Let's just go over what happened to Cyberpunk 2077 real quick. And I got the easiest way to tell you guys what happened. If you go on Gematsu and you just click on any article that's about Cyberpunk and you scroll all the way down, there's a list of tags. And you just click on Cyberpunk 2077 tag. You can see the article history that they've released about this game in order of release date from newest to oldest. So going from December 8th, which is 2 days before the game came out, right? Cyberpunk 2077 launch trailer. Okay? The very next, it's so funny to read it like this. Next entry was 4 days after it came out, December 14th. CD Projekt Red apologizes for Cyberpunk 2077 performance issues, which I mentioned last week. Lots of problems and glitches and things like that. It goes further than you think, by the way. I watched a 30-minute review from a guy who's not a game YouTuber. He's actually a political YouTuber, but he also plays games, and so he had a lot to say about this. And he said that the perk system in the game is the absolute most horrendous thing ever, in that it just doesn't work. And so one thing that he mentioned, and he went on Reddit to find out that lots of people were also having this problem, not just him. If you have a character that does, for example, automatic regeneration, HP regeneration, it's like it's not even happening. Like you chose the perk to regenerate, and then you don't regenerate at all. So stuff like that is also in the game, yo. So yeah, he said he could look over all the graphical glitches and bugs and hilarious things like that, but that bugs like that are absolutely out of the question. Just no, unforgivable. He also said there are timed missions, but they don't tell you that it's timed. And since it's an open world, he wanted to go out and do some random stuff for a while. And when he came back to a main story mission, it was like, you failed this mission already because you took too long. So that's a thing too.
And I think on that same track, I've read some and listened to some opinions about the game outside of the technical issues, which, optimistically will get resolved, or even like weird gameplay ones where like, hey, this ability isn't fun to use. They could fix that too. But there are people who are like, the story in this game sucks.
What? See, the guy,
Like, yeah.
the guy who I was just listening to, he thought that the story was actually really good, and he's like, he said once all these bugs get fixed, he sees this as being a 9 out of 10 game. That's what he said.
Okay.
But okay.
Someone I was listening to, who I'm sure people are out there are familiar with in general, Jeff Gerstmann from Giant Bomb.
Okay.
He did a whole thing on this, and he's just kind of expressing how, just like the writing isn't particularly good because apparently it was translated into English.
Not written in English, okay.
Not written in English because there is a English localization team credited in the end of the game.
Okay.
And he pointed out a couple examples of like, this sounds like it was like roughly translated and not like skillfully translated.
When you say this, do you mean the game overall or some areas?
Examples that he was giving.
Okay.
So not on the whole, it's not that rough.
Right.
But, he was then talking in vague terms about the ending and how he was like, here's this and this and this reason why it's not good. But, I won't get into it. He didn't even get into it, so I couldn't even if I wanted to. But it just, to me, it's coming to the foreground bit by bit. People are like, actually, this game's like not great.
Okay. Yeah. Well, right now for sure. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting though, because the guy who I was watching, he's pretty strict about stories, and once the Gamergate event happened and things like that started becoming more well known, he was like way up front about like how terrible stories in Western developed games have become just in general, and he literally has an entire playlist on his channel called the death of the Western gaming industry. Like, just there's no good Western game anymore. And he was one of those people that was one of the original die-hard BioWare fans, and he's made several rant videos.
I'm sure he's really not having a good time. It's like being a Mets fan or something.
Yeah, he was really not happy about that. He was really not happy with how the Telltale Studios went down. Their games got worse and worse in his opinion. And another interesting about that guy, he only plays the most AAA games. And so like people are always in his comment section saying, dude, there are lots of great Japanese games, lots of great indie games. And he's like, dude, like I play Persona 5. It was shit. That's what he said.
Okay.
I mean, he didn't really mean it's just shit, but he always says that Japanese games are just too repetitive. And as JRPG fans, I can understand what he's saying. It is repetitive for sure.
Yeah, you gotta
just fight forever.
Grind. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, but this is a guy who has basically, in my opinion, the highest standard, at least for stories. So that's an interesting little clash of opinions there.
I don't know if he did he say that he finished the game?
I don't think he finished it, but he's played. No, he did finish it. Yeah, he did finish it.
Okay.
And I think he even finished it multiple times with multiple builds.
Got it.
Already.
Okay. People are going to have their different opinions, so who knows what the breakdown. I haven't played it myself either. So
that's right.
But are we going to mention like the kind of the big final piece of news in the Cyberpunk?
Well, let me finish and then you tell me if I missed
go
it.
ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So the last one that I just mentioned was CD Projekt Red apologizes for Cyberpunk 2077 performance issues. Skip up a couple of articles that aren't really that important. December 17th, so that's like 3 days ago. Sony Interactive Entertainment delists Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store and launches a refunds website. And I remember there was a official announcement from Cyberpunk developer guys saying that we're sorry, and in that apology, he's like, we'll give everybody full refunds no matter what, no matter how long you've played the game. Mm-hmm. But I think they said that without consulting Microsoft or PlayStation. Mm-hmm. But then later on, this news came out that they are allowing refunds on PlayStation 4. And then the last one that came out, December 18th, that's like 2 days ago from time of recording, Microsoft expands policy to offer full refunds for Cyberpunk 2077 digital purchases. So basically anyone can get a refund, it sounds like. And I believe I
Yeah.
saw an article earlier that Best Buy also is allowing anyone, no matter how long you've played it, to refund the game. So I would like to think that the reason all these people are, coming to the coming to the cause of refunds is actually Cyberpunk guys. What is it? What's the studio name? CD Projekt Red actually contacted all these guys and convinced them to do it, is what I'd like to think. I don't know for sure. And the final thing that came out, but not on this website, but just recently, there was a article by Jason Schreier, somewhat famous games journalist. He posted that there was a meeting, and somebody posted the in-company meeting that several employees directly, angrily asked aggressive questions to the board of directors, like, how come you said that this game was complete and playable back in January when it wasn't? Like, their own developers are asking their employers this question. And, they're angry that they had to do all this crunch. That's the situation. Did I miss the story, Mel?
No, the biggest one was the Sony officially pulling it from sale.
Yeah.
Delisting it. A AAA, probably one of the highest profile games of the year, easily.
Right. Of multiple years, for sure.
Of multiple. The first trailer for this thing came out 7 years ago.
Jesus Christ. That was too early.
Yeah, well, it was just a teaser CGI. It was zero gameplay.
Yeah.
So it was really just an announcement like, hey, we're doing this. And it was like, whoa, the Witcher guys are doing a high-tech thing.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
So it was like, look forward to it. And everyone said, okay, I will. And now here we are. But, there's a lot to unpack behind this. I think it's too broad to get into for this show and at this moment. But you could probably, if anyone listening has other podcasts they listen to, I guarantee you they've heard the story 3 or 4 times by now.
Yeah.
It made headline news. I was telling Zoltan before we started recording, I had people in my friend and family circles asking me about this, people who don't know a damn thing about video games.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Why do you know about this? And then I realized later on, oh, this made regular news headlines.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have one more, just super fun. It's unrelated, but it's super fun. Quickie. The unrelated to JRPGs, any RPGs, video games even, I'm sorry, but it's just, I have to throw this in here, because who else am I going to tell? The band, the Viking death metal band, quite possibly the most famous death metal band out there, is going to be demonstrating, I guess, really, promoting, I guess, the next Magic the Gathering card expansion, which is called Kaldheim, which is a Viking-inspired card set. And so that band is appropriate because they are specifically a Viking death metal band. All of their songs are about Norse mythology and nothing else. So that's why they're appropriate. And I just thought that was the greatest combination ever. The Viking death metal band and Magic the Gathering, genius.
I don't know if we mentioned it before. Have you played Magic, the actual card game, before?
Oh, I played it starting from revised edition, which is the 3rd edition that ever came out, yo.
Wow.
Sorry, let me finish the story real quick.
Really. Go ahead.
So they're going to be on January 7th, 9 a.m. PT, I think that stands for Pacific time, at the Magic the Gathering's Twitch channel for that reveal. There you go. Okay. So what about Magic the Gathering?
I was just curious. Do you have any of your cards still, or are
no,
those
I
all
don't.
Long gone? Okay.
No, I don't. But man, if there was ever a way to get me to come back to playing Magic the Gathering, it's having Amon Amarth announce a Viking-inspired card set, yo. So I would like to be honest now, but that's fine. Those are all my quickies. It's your turn to do another story, Mel.
All right, my turn will consist of a game. I think that we touched on this in a previous episode. It's a game called Unsung Story.
This is a big deal, yo.
Yeah, this is a kind of a big deal. From what I gather, this game was in like very troubled early access, like I want to say like crowdfunding development, and it
Mm-hmm.
changed hands between two developers. I want to say at some
Oh, did
point.
it? Oh,
I think so. But
okay.
anyway, it is out now, and if you're unfamiliar with what
Well, it's early
Unsung
access,
Story
right?
is, yes, it's out now in early access for $30 on Steam at the moment. And if you're unfamiliar with what this game is, it is Final Fantasy Tactics, like a spiritual, like a group of people trying to make another one of those specifically, like that type of tactics game.
And the important
So,
thing about
go
that is
ahead.
that it's actually being created by Yasumi Matsuno, right?
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think so, yo. That's the
That's a
thing
big
that
thing.
makes this
Yeah.
really, really important, I think.
Right. So right now, if you are curious or you really want to rush to support this game, maybe take a deeper look at it. It's in very early access. So it's not like some games get released early access and it's like, we're going to be adding a lot more content to this game and it'll be like a full game when we're done. Some games, when they're in early access, it's like there's like a level.
Right.
And that's kind of what this is.
Okay.
So there's one location, I think, or like one chapter or something like that. I was reading the reviews, of which there are 5 on Steam at the moment. And there's a couple people who reviewed it like don't buy because they're like, this game's going to get very, very good. But right now, I just can't find myself to recommend it. But all the skeleton is there,
To be
people
an
were
awesome
saying,
game.
to be a really good successor to a strategy game like Tactics, which, I gather we don't have a ton of examples for.
Maybe not. I mean, there are. I don't
Like,
know.
because you can go one of two ways. You can go the Final Fantasy Tactics route, which I actually don't have a ton of personal experience with, or you can go more like Fire Emblem or XCOM.
Yeah. Well, I haven't played Fire Emblem, so I can't really go into the details of. I can't
Or
like say
is
how similar they
Disgaea
are.
very similar to Tactics?
No, because the thing about Final Fantasy Tactics is it's we always call it a strategy RPG, but in actuality, it is very much a tactical RPG. Where meaning just you don't need to have the whole strategy in your head of what you're going to do. You just need to have this little group of you just need to have this little ability combined with this
Sure.
ability over here, and then that'll be useful to kill this guy, and you can use this certain tactic to kill this guy over here, and that's kind of how you do it. You really just find a bunch of tactics that work and throw them at the enemy, and they'll work, and that's how that goes. Where in Disgaea, literally the whole point of the game is you find out how to become overpowered, and you become overpowered that way. Like there's literally an enemy, a stage in that game where there's an enemy that's like way too many levels. Like you can make an enemy that's
Above
way too
you.
many levels above yours, and there's one freaking tile on the map that if you stand on it, you're just invincible, and it's not a secret or anything. It says right on the map. The effect of
Interesting.
this tile is that you're invincible when you stand on it. So you just stand there and you whack at this over-leveled enemy over and over again, and you go insane levels. Like they expect you to do that, yo.
Interesting. I knew you got overpowered and that was the thing people did. I didn't know it was so like overt, like that was the thing.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics
All
is
right,
just like the customized game. You customize those job classes the way you
got it.
want, and you have tactics to defeat the enemies.
And I think it's worth touching on. This is a fully 3D game. This isn't, sprite based at all.
It isn't,
It's
yeah.
fully 3D modeled. It looks good. It's got like a style to it, but at the same time, some of the reviews have said the character models at the moment are a little generic. Like some of I guess the
Mm.
fighter characters look like generic fighters. Like it's not
Uh,
too inspired, but the environmental work that I've seen in the trailers looks quite good.
I'm of exactly the same opinion after watching the trailers. The environments look really nice. Characters look okay.
Exactly. So stay tuned. Throw that on your wish list on Steam. I assume it will probably end up like on the Switch at some point, down the road. That
It's
would not surprise me.
It says on the Steam page, Unsung Hero is a tactical RPG from the mind of Yasumi Matsuno.
Aha.
There you go.
There it is.
He's making it, yo.
Damn.
I know, right? Okay, I've got a couple really cool videos that you guys could watch if you're interested. The Completionist YouTube channel has released Hyrule Warriors, the 1,000-hour complete nightmare.
Okay.
He literally, so in case you guys don't know, The Completionist is this really fun guy who his show is called The Completionist, and he makes sure he does every little thing in the game, and then he makes a video about how hard it is and what it's like to do that to a game. And so he doesn't do that many RPGs because those take the longest, and he has given himself a strict schedule to make these very highly produced, very polished videos that require him completely doing everything in a game once a week, yo. So for that reason, he doesn't do that many RPGs. But he did Hyrule Warriors, which I don't think is an RPG either. But I just thought I'd throw it out because I watched it, and it was really, I don't know, fun to listen to this guy talk about how it took him years to do this. Like, because he had to complete other games in that time to make videos once a week, right? So he's like, so every morning I woke up and I'd play Hyrule Warriors for like 1 hour a day for like the past 5 years or something like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my god, you guys. I've dug myself my own grave. Like, he's talking like that. It's I really enjoyed it. Admittedly, usually he doesn't have any grand revelations to say about a game, even though he reviews the games when he's talking about them. But the level of polish and the production value and his opening intro, for example, are all the highest tier on YouTube. So I think that's really impressive. And then I just like the whole premise of I don't just finish games, I complete them. So if you want to see a man who's just overcome the freaking mountain, there you go. The 1,000-hour complete nightmare. And Cadmony, not really a YouTuber per se, just a dude who throws up some interesting videos about Xenogears and really nothing else when he feels like it. 6 months ago, he actually uploaded a new video. That's like kind of recent for him. He sometimes goes years without a new video. And most of his older videos are like speedrun highlights of Xenogears. He's one of those ridiculous people that speedruns a game that is 85% text, and the text cannot be, the speed of which cannot be changed.
Oh,
He's
no.
one of those people, you guys. The best kind of person. So Cadmony, he released a video in July called Xenogears, Infinite Money, Ether Doublers, Items, and Gear Parts anytime with kernel menu. And this is a secret that was just found like just before he's basically the person who is announcing that secret has been found. And my last story to you guys is me telling you about how to access that kernel menu and what you can do with it. It's freaking amazing. You can just watch his video as well. It is a little bit weird though because he's got like he's French dude. And so he's got a French accent, text-to-speech voice.
Oh my god!
Right? It's kind of interesting. I really like it.
Funny.
So it can be maybe it's not difficult to understand. You just have to really pay attention, though. Luckily, there was text on the screen. You could just read that. But I'm going to explain it because I just think it's the coolest thing ever. Thank you so much, Cadmony, for making that video. Oh my god, you guys are going to be in for it. After Mel's next story. What is it, Mel?
All right, so we are going to talk about a game that I, in looking for the news, discovered. It's called Chris Tales, CRIS Tales. It is a Western developed game. Modus Games, I think, is publishing and developing it, so there's some smaller studio. But it is a turn-based game that there's a 14-minute uh,
Gameplay
gameplay and
video.
like synopsis sort of like introductory video by the developer, and they call it like a JRPG, even though obviously it's not developed in Japan.
That's fine. Yeah.
So it is it's a
Unique art
really
style.
stylized, really
Hmm.
unique art style. It's got a very cartoonish art style. It almost looks like if you've ever watched the show Powerpuff
I
Girls.
was gonna say it looks kind of like the Powerpuff Girls animation.
Yeah, a little bit. A little more sharp, a little more angular, not so soft and round, but in that sort of family of design.
Yeah.
And for a good portion of the opening of this video, you're kind of running around to the point where I was like, "Oh, is this actually like a point and click like puzzle game?" Because you're doing a lot of puzzle manipulation, moving around of things in the environment, and it all kind of centers around this time shifting mechanic where you have your character in the middle of the screen and you have
Yeah.
this triangle that comes down around them, and then the right and the left side of the screen are on the outside of that triangle,
Yes.
and then you
I'm looking at
can
it.
shift the time to the left so that it goes back in time. I think 5 years. I think it's 5 years either way, or you shift it to the right to go forward five. And that changes the environment. So if you need to, get to something that's behind the box, you move the thing back in time, the box isn't there, or it's a smaller box, or whatever.
Okay, so I'm looking at this video, and yeah, there's the big just a triangle sort of like in the middle of the screen, and she's standing in it, and the background is, of course, visible through it. And it looks a little bit different than the stuff that's not in the triangle. And so if you, when you move time back, like the triangle moves to the left also. And so
Yeah, so
everything
you
out
can.
left side and right side of the triangle is the same. It's just both 5 years before.
I don't recall if it's actually five, but it's something like that. It's not like a wild amount of time. It's some near future, near past
Right.
amount of time.
But my question
And
is the left side out, is the left portion that's outside of the triangle the same or different from what's on the right side outside of the triangle portion?
the left side should be the past, and the right side
Is the
should be the
future.
future.
Oh,
Yeah,
whoa.
right. So you can see all three, past, present, future, at once, and then you can move the triangle over all the way to get access to the past, and then you have this little frog guy who ages down to being a tadpole or ages up to being like an older fat frog who
Okay.
can run around in those different time
Oh,
periods and do
whoa.
whatever.
Puzzle solving, yo.
Yeah, so
Oh, man.
that is demonstrated for about half the video, and then they finally get into combat. It's like, oh, okay, there is combat, and it's turn-based combat, Paper Mario rules. So, like, you have to do the timed hits
Oh,
when you deal damage and defend against damage. So that's in there. Really cool. I like that. There's a time mechanic comes into the combat. So, and this is the part that makes it worth talking about, honestly, is the main character, Chris Bell, I think her name is, has some sort of time extra mana bar that has to do with her time powers.
hmm.
And she can do a couple things. She can invoke that triangle again to age down an enemy. And when that happens, depending on what enemy you do this to, they might be really young and weaker, but maybe they're a little faster. Or you can age them up, and maybe they're really old and they're fragile, but they're better at doing what they do, right? So
Hmm.
it does different things to different enemies. The
Dude, this
other
sounds
part
awesome.
is if you cast a fire spell on an enemy and then you send them into the future, all that DOT fire damage hits them at once.
What?
Yeah,
That's
that's a
crazy.
really cool idea. And then in the video, they also say there's a boss character or some kind of enemy that you have to fight that has armor on. And if you cast a water spell, they get the wet status. And if you move them into the future, their armor rusts and becomes brittle.
That is crazy.
hmm There's a couple other examples they give, and one of them is you can do time manipulation on your own characters so that they can act and perform multiple attacks at once, and that's the general gist of it, and it looks really cool. There's a demo. I guess you have to go to their website to get the demo. I'm not sure how exactly that, but they in the
Only on
trailer
PC, right?
they. I suppose the demo's only on PC, but this game is coming in 2021 to like pretty much every platform.
Okay.
Past gen, current gen, Switch, Stadia, PC,
Even Stadia, huh?
even the Stadia. So, yeah, this is definitely on my radar all of a sudden because I really can't get enough of good examples of the Paper Mario / Mario RPG. That's where it started. Timed hit combat system. I love that stuff.
You do, huh? Hmm.
Yeah,
Have
I
you
mean Mario RPG was like my first RPG. It did a whole thing on it, and I really like that stuff.
have you ever played The Legend of Dragoon?
I have not.
That was a game that came out similar to the time that FF7 came out. It was made by Sony themselves. And, there are some people who think that's like the coolest crap ever. And, of course, there are lots of other people who just think, nah, 557 is better, just play that one. But that game had, as one of its main mechanics, the push the button with correct timing to unleash your full attack. And I remember the first time I played it, the better the weapon you get, the longer your combo is, so you can do more hits when you get like better weapons. But you have to be better at pushing the button. And they start doing things like making like one hit come very quickly after another hit, so you're like boom, 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 and stuff like that.
That sounds like what was the Vagrant Story did this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like did that. Oh my God, did it do that? Where it did the same thing where you have a weapon where your character swings a sword and then swings it again. You gotta get used to the timing so that you can actively chain the hits.
Yeah.
They play around with that a lot, and there are a decent number of games that do this, but I'm always like, ooh, they're doing the thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, in the case of Legend of Dragoon, there's a very big, there's like a square and then another square zooms down onto it, and when they're the same size, that's when you're supposed to push the button, so it's like visual. Or I don't think they show you anything in freaking Vagrant Story. You just have to like watch the animation.
You have to look at the character model, and it's very vague.
Yeah.
That whole game is very janky, but it's so compelling at the same time.
Exactly.
Lost Odyssey does this too.
Oh, yeah?
Where you have like every time your character attacks, they like do this like run up to the enemy, and then there's like a circle, and it shrinks down on another circle, and you gotta hit the button to attack at that time to do the extra damage.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, that's a big deal. Lost Odyssey, amazing game.
Cool. I would like to play it someday.
I know.
Okay, last story. I'm about to blow. If you haven't heard this, you guys, and you've played Xenogears, and don't worry, there aren't any spoilers in this, so don't worry, Mel. If you have not heard this secret, which only just came out like half a year ago, and you've played Xenogears before, this is going to blow your goddamn minds into pure energy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Watch out.
So this is the Xenogears kernel menu. How do you enter it? Simple. You enter a battle, a random battle, that's not on the world map, though, and while still on Disc 1. And then while in the battle, just sitting on your turn, switch to Disc 2. And then after you've switched the disc, so this is how you do it on the original hardware, yo. I don't know how you would do this. If you can even do it on an emulator. I don't know. But this is with original hardware. Switch to Disc 2, and then after you put the second disc in, run away from the battle. And you have a 50% chance of entering the kernel menu and a 50% chance of crashing the game.
Nice.
And I love how this last little... The 50% chance, the reason there's a 50% chance, it's actually specifically is the 50% because whether it crashes or enters the kernel menu is based on the actual game's random number generation. I love that.
That's nice.
So, assuming you got into the kernel menu, then you need to before you push any buttons, you need to put back in Disc 1 or else it'll crash again. Okay? Once you enter the kernel menu, you'll see 6 options. Field, Battle, World Map, Battling, Menu, and Movie. Field, if you just push it, it crashes. So who knows what it's actually supposed to do. Battle will just take you back to the battle you were fighting. So you're back in the normal game again.
Mm-hmm.
Movie lets you watch any of the various full motion video sequences that are in the game, and then it crashes. So you'll be able to watch like one, and then it'll crash. Battling lets you take part in a thing that comes later in the game. It's not really a spoiler, but I won't say what it is anyway. But there's a thing called battling that's different from the normal battles in the game. You can do that from this menu, but you don't really need this menu to do that. If you just play the game to the end, then you can just do the battling thing anytime you want anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The world map thing option lets you warp to any place on the world map, but it's hard to make it work well. But the one that you want is the one that's just called menu. And if you go into it, it takes you to a menu of 7 columns and many rows of menu items. So vertically 7, horizontally there's a row of 7, and beneath them are many, many different other options below it as well. So it's this massive table of options. But the thing is, you can't see them. The screen is completely black. So you have to navigate it blindly. Isn't this amazing, dude?
This is crazy.
I know, right? So the first column has 31 menu items. And those just allow you to get into the actual in-game normal party menu. And you can save your game in there if you want, except for the first one. If it won't let you save for some reason. That's interesting. The second column also has 31 menu items, and these allow you to like change your party members, I believe. It didn't go into the details because it's not important to how the normal person would want to use this menu, but it says change your party in different ways is all it said. The third column also has 31 items, and they all just take you back to the game. So who knows what those were supposed to be. The fourth column also has 31 options, and they all allow you to rename. Each one allows you to rename a specific character or gear. And in Xenogears, the gears is just what they call the robots. They're called gears. Mm-hmm. So you can rename any character or any gear, at least 31 of them. I wonder if that is the exact number of gears plus characters comes to 31.
Can you not normally name those things?
No, you can.
Okay, you can?
You can't name the characters, though. No, you can't name the characters in this game.
Okay.
But you can name the... You know what? I don't think you can name the gears either. No.
Interesting.
Wait. What can you name in Xenogears? I don't think you can name anything.
You can't name anything in Xenosaga, so it would not surprise me if you couldn't in Xenogears.
Yeah, I know. Every time you meet a new character, they never say, "Oh, by the way, my name is," and then that like dialogue that never pops up.
Yeah, I don't think so. It would not shock me.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe actually, I guess you couldn't rename anything now that I think about it. I could be wrong though. There might be a guy you could talk to in the gear hangar that'll say, "Hey, you want to rename your gear?" But they all have in-game basic names. The one that you start with is called Veltal, which is some kind of cool German name, I think. The fifth column has 512 options, and every single one of them is a shop, an in-game shop. Even though there aren't 512 shops in the game, I don't know why that works that way. The sixth column has 256 options, and those are all gear shops, because in this game there are two types of shops, human shops and gear shops.
Mm-hmm.
And in both of these shops, you can buy glitched items that aren't in the actual game.
Wow.
Right? I'm getting crazy, right? And the last column only has 2 options, and they are just simply the insert disc 1 and insert disc 2 dialogue options. That's it.
So it sounds like they found the debug menu that is sometimes left behind in partial function.
Dude, I think this is separate. Because I remember a long, long time ago there being a debug menu for this game. I think this is another menu, the kernel menu.
Well, games can have multiple debug menus, and I guess I've never heard of the term kernel menu before, but I presume
Kernel, that kernel.
Right. Well, a kernel is a thing in computing, but I guess it's just another name for a debug menu.
Perhaps it is.
Because it seems to me from what you're describing to the original design of it was to do exactly the same thing. It lines up all the features of the game in a row for the developer to have easy access to go like, all right, I need to test, make sure all the weapon shops are working. All right, let's have a menu to let you load into all of them.
Right.
Or in some way access all of them. Or I need to be able to test all the weapons in the game, including ones we never finished. Or just not why bother excluding the ones we didn't finish? The players never going to have access, so they're in the list, right?
Yeah.
And that's usually what winds up happening with these games. And there's usually either a menu option on the title screen or some sort of button combination that needs to be input by literally on the controller by the developer. That's like hashed out. That's canceled out in the build in the regular game, or it's some kind of function that the debug console itself sends to the game code to turn this menu on that the retail build does not do. And it is very, very cool when games that are this old find like these things come out, because I think Mario 64, there were 2 or 3 debug menus that came out years and years after.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really popular game, more popular than Xenogears. So
I guess.
Yeah. So that's cool. So the video goes on to tell you how to navigate that all black invisible menu to make something crazy. So check this out, yo. You start up the game. You watch the opening, and during the opening, this is the most amazing part to me. The kernel menu is supposed to be accessed by switching to disc 2 when you're in a random battle in disc 1 and then running away from it, right? In the beginning, there are a bunch of cutscenes, and during one of the cutscenes is a battle cutscene, and if you just wait till the last, so watch the opening scenes and watch the opening cutscene, and when the main character Faye says while he's in his gear, huff, huff, damn it, how come? Why did it have to come to this? Don't push any buttons, just leave that dialogue box on the screen and switch to disc 2, and 100% you get into the kernel menu. There's no chance to fail on that one for some reason.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Isn't that amazing? It's supposed to work on battles, and it works on a battle cutscene 100% of the time. That's amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
Then, before you push any buttons after that, once you're in the kernel menu, switch back to disc 1. And then go down to the menu option and press the X button, and you'll be on the all black screen. From here, press right 4 times, up 32 times, and the X button, and you will arrive at an end game shop with infinite gold.
Oh.
And I won't tell you what, but there's some crazy ass shit in the end game shop. It's a normal shop that's in the game. But yeah, this game allows you to buy something that's kind of crazy. I can't believe they let you buy those even in the end game, but I'm glad they did because it's just fun. I won't spoil it. Not that it's a story spoiler or anything, but look forward to that eventually, Mel. I'm sure you'll find it. It's not that
Holy
much.
cow.
Yeah. After you exit, then you'll be back at the main kernel menu, so you can go back into that menu again, and then on the black screen, press right 4 times and up 7 times, and you can enter a shop, and then push X, and then you can enter a shop that has the Ether Doubler, which is a missable shop item. Like it's extremely expensive in an early game shop. So like basically you have to go out of your way to grind an hour or 2 to get enough money to buy one of them. But now you have infinite money. You can buy as many ether doublers as you want, and that thing doubles your magic damage, yo.
Permanently?
You equip it. So yeah, as long as it's equipped.
Okay.
So it's crazy. It's a gear item. No, I'm sorry. It's a human item. So you can only equip one on a person. They don't stack.
Got it.
But
okay, so it's like an accessory.
It's an accessory, but it's crazy. You pay double the ether points for magic spells, but they deal double the damage. It's crazy. Yeah, it's one of the more popular. It's totally worth it, yo. Okay, once you get out of there, go back in there, push right times 4 and down times 13 and X, and you'll enter shop number 243. And the second item is an item that like doesn't have any name, just a blank space where it is. But in the description window, there's a whole bunch of like random characters, including Japanese characters, and it only costs 256 gold. Buy a bunch of those. That's a glitched item in the game, and then once you get back in the menu, just push up once and push the button, and you can be in the normal menu, and you can equip all that stuff that you bought. You can use all those items that you bought, and you can also use that item, that glitched item. What it does, you only have the first 2 characters in your party. I don't know if the effects of these items are going to go on to later recruited allies or not. Probably not. But that glitched item, what it does is it increases, it permanently increases your magic points and HP of all characters by a lot. So if you just like buy 9 of them and use the 9 of them, you have max HP MP for those 2 characters at least. And
whoa.
Yeah, just right from the beginning of the game. And then you can go and save in that same menu. And then when you go back out of there, you'll be back on the kernel menu, and you can go back in there, and then you push right 5 times and up 17 times in X, and you'll be at the in-game gear upgrade shop once again with infinite money. And then you go back and you just push up 1 time to get into the menu where you can save, equip all that stuff. And then after you've saved, just reset the PlayStation 1 and load the game that you saved, and you're at the very beginning with all that stuff, yo.
Now that is one hell of a way to break a game.
Isn't it? Yeah, so that's the new speed run now, because you can just spend a little bit of time in that menu and just,
It's stuff like this where I understand how games are very, online and connected to, achievements and leaderboards and all that shit. But
yeah.
What if there was like, at the main menu of the game, it's just like, fuck it, debug modes. Like, turn that on.
Yeah.
Get access to everything, whenever, however, whatever. Here you go. All the game code is already here. We'll just let you do what you want to do. Like, the achievements are turned off. It's all, there's no online component to this mode. And then you do fucking have fun. Do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Like, that would be so cool if games just did that. I think that would be cool.
I think that would be cool too, because then you can, you can do all kinds of things. For example, there's an item in Chrono Trigger called the Wallet that lets you, if you find that thing, you can stop receiving experience, but instead you receive that much experience as money or something, or like get double money or something, but you like stop receiving experience. And so, like, it would be cool, right? To, like, just give yourself 6 of those, put them on every character. Okay, level 1 playthrough, here we go, right?
Yeah, infinite money, basically.
Infinite money, only. No levels. That would be a really fun thing to try to do, right? And you could.
That would be very cool.
It would be really an easy way to accommodate something like that. Because now, if you want to do a level 1 playthrough, obviously you have to make sure that like people die during. How does it work? That's right. There are like there are a lot of required battles. You have to make sure one person is gonna get experience like no matter what, and then you have to make sure everybody else is dead. Like that's so annoying, right? To let everybody else die off before you finish every battle and stuff. So yeah, I like your idea that you could just do whatever after you beat the game once, or even from the beginning.
Yeah, fuck it. Who cares? I bought the game. Let me do what I want with it.
Totally. So I hope you guys had fun with that story.
Yeah.
And I believe that takes us to the end. And of course, the main purpose of this channel is to advertise our other main channel. Not just to bring you the news, but to let you know that we have another channel called Turn-Based Memories, where we do bigger, more high-quality videos. And the most recent 2 videos that have come out over there was my video basically giving the history of the Soul series, and I did a pretty good job in my opinion. So I hope you guys go check that out. It's like a 45-minute video. I did a crazy thing where I killed all the enemies in like the first 2 areas and didn't ever heal. Sit down at a bonfire to heal, so that I could run from the beginning all the way to the end of that area without having any enemies and just show off the map how they're connected. And I put cool music to it. So because that was really hard to do, go watch the video. And the most recent video was put up by Mel, where he talks about, he does basically kind of a review of what Code Vein is trying to achieve and whether it achieves it or not, and what it does achieve, which is a pretty interesting video. I liked it. I watched the whole thing twice.
Ooh, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. And I have finally started for our main podcast, the Turn-Based Memories podcast that will go up over there on Turn-Based Memories channel. I have begun playing The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and I just finished. I finished the Lost Forest, and I met the girl named Saria, and she taught me Saria's song. And so now, and so now I have the choice to either go. According to the owl dude, which you meet everywhere you go, according to him, I have the choice to go either west to Gerudo Valley or south to Lake Hylia. Or is it Lake Hylia? Which do you pronounce it, Mel?
I always say Hylia.
Okay, it is Hyrule, but I don't know. I always want to say that word is Hylia. So that's where I'm at right now. So look forward to me making slow but sure progress with that. My kids like watching Zelda more than
that's good.
More than some of my other games.
It's a very fun game to watch, I think.
It's easy for them to understand, right? Because there's nothing complex about it. You run around and you hit things with your sword and you solve the puzzles, right?
Not a lot of exposition. Not a lot of cutscenes.
Yeah. So there's that. And Mel, have you started your next game for?
I have not. I
you
need to do that right away.
That's fine. I mean, you got time. I'm still going to play a game before you finish yours, but yours is probably longer than mine.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You're going to... Have you decided already to...
Oh, yeah. It'll be Xenogears.
Okay, yeah. So he's going to play Xenogears for that. So those will be the next 2 episodes of the Turn-Based Memories podcast. And anything else we got to say, Mel?
No, I think that covers all of our upcoming engagements. Please look forward to them.
Definitely. This has been Dude JRPG News. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys.
Bye.